Shane Williams, welcome.
Thank you.
So much. Have a seat.
Yes,
Get comfortable, please. We don't have a lot of time. Our questions are a little direct and maybe a little more simple than we'd like, just because of lack of time.
Yes, sir.
The first thing we'd like to do is thank you for your public service
Thank you.
and service to Collin County and to country.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. We want to know what your view is of what is a conservative and what distinguishes you from wannabe conservatives who promise to be conservative.
A conservative, so you want me to define conservatism? Okay, as far as conservatism would be the rule of law, following the Constitution, not only the national Constitution, but the Texas Constitution. And where constables get their power is from our state Constitution. And in our office, we won't, if the federal government, these Democrats ever come to our office and said, okay, I only want you to go with the ATF and take everyone's guns. That's just part of it. That will never happen in my office. I'll leave office before that happens. Answer the way.
Anything else on conservative position?
And to save as much tax dollars money as we can. We have a great commissioner's court that watches our budgets and does an outstanding job and works with us. I couldn't ask for a better commissioner's court. And I can say that now because I don't have to go till, what is it, October? So, but anyways, they do. They help us. If we have any questions, they're awesome to work with. They really are, all five of them.
So you know what it is to work as a constable.
Yes, sir.
Why are you running again? Why would you do this again?
Because I love it. When I first got into law enforcement, I went to the academy and we had, it was just 1 week. I don't know what it is now, but at that time it was just 1 week they did civil. They went over civil. And I was like, I didn't pay attention. I was like, I'll never do that. And then when I became an officer, I got on a call or I'll say officer, I was a deputy sheriff. I got on a call and it was a tenant landlord dispute. And I was like, oh man, I should have paid more attention in the police academy. And it intrigued me, so I taught, back then I come out of Fannin County, which is a very small, poor rural county. And I talked to they only had one constable in each precinct, no deputies. So I went to that constable, and he'd been there a long time. He was very knowledgeable, great guy. He just retired this last term, great man. And I went to him, and I started learning a little bit of civil. And the more I learned, the more I liked it, and the more it intrigued me. And I love it. It's a challenge. You get to match wits with attorneys, because attorneys, believe it or not, they may be the plaintiff, and you're serving their papers or their writs. But if you mess up just one little bit, they'll turn around and sue you, and guess what? It's suing all of you as well. I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars they can sue you for one little mess up or one little mistake on those writs. And I love doing it. I really do. I want to make sure that, knock on wood, one of two constables' offices hadn't been sued in this last 4 years. And I want to keep that track record going by hiring the best, well-trained deputies and staff that I possibly can. I'm very fortunate. I thank God that we have great ones working for us. Because it's not me, believe me, it's my staff as well. They're the ones that are out there day to day, pounding sand, getting these everything served.
Well, like so many of our law enforcement officers, you have a degree of humility, but now it's time to talk about yourself. What's your distinctive qualification for this job?
For my job, I have an advanced peace officer license, which every peace officer in the state has a license at different levels. It's how many years of service with so much training. And I went above and beyond, and I've been to as far as constable work goes, I've been to every one of the continuing education classes that you can possibly go to. And then I've also went a step above that, and they actually have the Constable Leadership College, which is funded by the state. And I've graduated that. I finally got graduated with it last year. And it's down in Huntsville with Sam Houston State University.
Okay, now we have to ask you something we're trying to ask everyone this evening, and that is, how do you finance a campaign? And what's your philosophy and your practice in terms of campaign finance?
My practice, I learned a lot running this time. A lot of people want favors. They want you, if they give you money, they are like, okay, what are you going to do for me? I'm not that way. I'm sorry. Either you believe in me and you would want to donate, or I don't want anything to do with you. I don't think it's right. I know it happens a lot in Washington, but I never thought in Collin County there would be someone. I guess I was naive. But a certain person had told me, okay, well, are you going to move me to the top? No, just never mind. And I left. I don't believe it. I don't think it's right, and shouldn't do it as a Christian.
A few years ago, we wouldn't have been able to imagine that a constable anywhere would be told by a judge to deliver papers to a baker or a photographer who refuses to do a same-sex marriage. What do you do?
I have to follow the Constitution, which is whatever the Constitution says what I have to do. If the judge, I have a reserve deputy that also performs. He's a minister, and he's had a lot of problems with that. He's of course he won't do them, and he said if I get sued, I get sued. Will that hinder me working for you as a reserve? And I said no, of course not. I'm saying that's your choice. You make that choice. Which I'm a conservative completely when it comes to that. But what was the first part of your question?
So do you serve those papers?
I have to. If it comes from a judge, I have to.
I understand.
Because we enforce judges' orders. Anything a judge sends to us, we have to serve, or we're open for liability. County's open for liability, and it's commanding me to do something. Now, if I had a choice, of course not. But I don't have a choice in the matter.
At this point in time, we don't have a lot of time. We'd like to go deeper, but let's ask if there are any questions from the audience. Howard, please.
Yeah, it seems like last election cycle, the big issue in the constable's office was the backlog of papers that needed to be served. Is that still an issue?
As far as civil papers?
I'm guessing. I don't know.
As far as civil papers, there's not a backlog of getting served that I'm aware of. I know there's not in my office. As far as the other three, I don't think there is either. Now, there is as far as Class C warrants, there is.
Ms. Harless?
Back to the question of serving a warrant for somebody who refused to do a same-sex marriage or bake a cake for them or whatever. Yes, so you do have to follow the judge's orders. But you also took an oath to the Texas and the U.S. Constitution.
Correct.
And the Texas Constitution says that marriage is between one man and one woman, and the Texas Family Code says that a marriage license shall not be issued to people of the same sex. So how do you balance that?
For one, I don't think we wouldn't have a warrant for that. That I don't. As far as I know, in the state statute, there's not one for that. The only thing that I feel that this office would be dealing with anything was serving them papers. I believe that would be the suit, and we would just be delivering it.
Okay.
It's a very difficult dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about that until tonight.
One more question. Anything else from the audience, please?
What do you see as the role of the constable? Do you see it as strictly serving papers, or would you like to expand the role to more police activities?
No, just our three core functions as far as it is. Now, of course, if the sheriff needs assistance apprehending someone, my deputies next door, of course, we'll assist other agencies, but that's not what we're here for. That's the sheriff's job, or the local police department's job, or the highway patrol to enforce traffic laws and work accidents.
We have time for one more, please.
Are you currently serving papers?
Certainly, yes, ma'am. When one comes in, one of my deputies are off sick, or anything else, yes, I am. But my main goal my main job at our office is administrator. But yes, now also at bailiff court too.
Hey, Mike, finally, is there an example you can think of where you were challenged in terms of being asked or told to do something that was an integrity issue?
I'm sorry, I'm having to think. I can't think of one right offhand.
We'll let you off. Please, we apologize for such a short time tonight. We appreciate so much you being here. Please stay afterwards. I think you'll see a lot of folks in the hallway after our meeting.
Thank you, and thank everyone for having me. Thank you.